Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us this evening. The legislation to clarify and strengthen Maryland's hate crime law has been introduced in Annapolis. Prince George's State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy is spearheading the legislation, which is named for a Bowie State student who was stabbed to death in 2017. Prosecutors argued that the murder of Lieutenant Richard Collins III was a hate crime. He was killed by University of Maryland student Sean Urbanski, who is white, on the College Park campus. Urbanski was convicted of first-degree murder, but a judge threw out the hate crime charge against him because it wasn't proven that Urbanski was driven solely by hate. Under the new law, named for Collins, prosecutors would only have to prove that hate was a factor in a crime.
So that anyone who is motivated in whole or in part by hate in the commission of a crime is held fully accountable and responsible for their actions.
It's kind of been a long journey to get to this point, but we are cautiously optimistic that the efforts that everyone has put forth is going to receive a positive response from the greater body of the legislature.
I beseech the state of Maryland to correct this so that no other mother has to feel the daily pain that I feel.
And Urbanski faces life in prison when he is sentenced in April. The county police officer charged with fatally shooting a handcuffed suspect will remain in jail. Judge Clarence Aaron this afternoon denied bond to Corporal Michael Owen Jr. Owen has been charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter in the death of William Green. Back in January, Green was shot to death while sitting handcuffed in a police cruiser. A preliminary hearing for Owen has been set for February 28th.
And for the first time in 27 years, Congress debates whether D.C. should become the nation's 51st state. The House Oversight Committee held a business meeting to mark up H.R. 51. The bill would reduce the seat of the federal government to a 2-square-mile area encompassing the White House, Capitol Hill, and the Supreme Court. The rest would become the new state. Opponents of the measure say that a constitutional amendment is required for statehood. Maryland Congressman Jimmy Raskin disagrees.
America began with 13 states, the 13 original colonies. We've admitted 37 states, which means the vast majority of the states came in after. None of them have been admitted by constitutional amendment. All of them have been admitted by a simple act of Congress, which is what is being proposed here in the statehood legislation.
The Constitution does not distinguish between the seat of the federal government and the district where the government is seated. The only way to overcome this problem would be to amend the Constitution.
The Congress has two choices. It can continue to exercise undemocratic authority over 700,000 American citizens who live in the nation's capital, treating them, in the words of Frederick Douglass, as aliens, not citizens, but subjects. Or it can live up to the nation's promise and ideals in taxation without representation.
Meantime, the campaign for D.C. statehood has support here in Prince George's County. A resolution urging Congress to use its powers to admit the district as a state. Council member at large Calvin Hawkins, who was born in D.C., is one of the sponsors.
There's no reason when there are about, 4 or 5, maybe more states in the union are smaller. They pay more taxes than some of the states in the union. They deserve a right to home rule and have an opportunity to vote for 2 U.S. senators, vote for some Congress persons who will have an opportunity to vote in Congress. That's what this is all about. Equal rights for the citizens of the District of Columbia. Simple as it can be.
Council Chairman Todd Turner is co-sponsoring that resolution.
Statues dedicated to 2 civil rights icons who were born in Maryland were unveiled in Annapolis last night. The bronze statues of Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman have been installed in the old House of Delegates chamber in the State House. The statues honor the lives and legacies of these 2 leaders and ensure that their mark on history is not forgotten. Douglass and Tubman were born into slavery on the Eastern Shore. They escaped slavery and fought for the freedom of others. The statues were unveiled after a joint session of the General Assembly attended by descendants of both Douglass and Tubman.
We came together as a nonpartisan group to give homage and respect to 2 people who paved the way for us, particularly as African Americans, to do what needs to be done in the way of creating a level playing field for all people, regardless of race, creed, color, or national origin.